Happy VA Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about VA loans if you're buying $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million house. That's right. I'm doing this video because there's so much misinformation, and I think that there's a perception that VA loans are just for if you don't have a ton of money. And I'm here to say, no, you earned your benefit, friend. Regardless of the price point of the house that you are buying, the VA loan is a good loan and you should be exploring your benefit. So what I see is in the luxury market, you'll have real estate agents where a veteran goes, what about VA? They're like, VA doesn't do jumbo. Right? And that's not true. Now, once upon a time, was it true that you'd have to have some level of down payment if you were doing higher loan amounts with VA? Yes, but this changed in 2020 with the Blue Water Act. But most people don't realize that unless they're in the VA space. So number one, if you have your full VA entitlement, there's no loan limit. You can do $2 million with 0% down. Now, it's important to note that you do want to talk to different lenders because different lenders have created their own rules on this. There's some lenders where if you go over $2 million, they want 5% down or 10%. We don't have that rule right now. So you do want to make sure you're talking to different lenders. Now, the next thing that I'll hear is, okay, that's cool, but I have money to put down, Jen. I'm buying a $2 million house. I want my payment to be lower. Guys, you can put a down payment down with VA. Yeah, VA, it doesn't have to be zero down. You can do 20, 30, 40% on a VA loan if you want to. And you're like, well, then what's the benefit of the loan? Because the benefit of the VA loan that people talk about all the time is they talk about zero down and no mortgage insurance. If you're putting 20+% down, you're like, well, what's the benefit? Okay, the benefit is this. The interest rates on VA, if you're working with a lean VA lender, they are gonna smoke conventional and jumbo 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times they're gonna smoke conventional. That's number one. Number two is the VA refinance benefit. If you want to refinance your loan and you've got a jumbo loan or a conventional loan, we're talking about jumbo, you're going to need an appraisal. They're going to want all your documents. To lower your rate, you have to re-qualify for the loan. VA, you do a VA interest rate reduction loan. No appraisal, no income documentation. We don't even do a hard credit pull anymore. It's just like a soft credit, and credit score doesn't even matter. It's just to make sure you're paying your mortgage on time and you can lower your rate. This is one of the benefits that people do not talk about enough. And they don't talk about the lower rates on VA versus conventional enough either. And the reason is there are some banks where they charge more on VA. And you're like, why? Because they get away with it. It's that simple. The interest rate on VA should always be lower. Why? It's government insured, guys. It's like if a lender loses, if you guys stop making your payment, our risk is so low because the government is going to cover a big chunk of that. It's very low. It is one of the lowest risk loans out there because of the government involvement. So that's why the interest rates are always lower too. So you've got a lower interest rate and you've got a better benefit down the road for refinancing. Okay. Now, the next thing I get is, well, Jen, I don't get VA disability, so I'm going to have to pay the funding fee. And my real estate agent said that's a lot of money. Recently had this happen with a client where he was doing 20% down. He was going to do conventional because his real estate agent, who was also military, had told him the funding fee would be over 3%. No, the guy was putting 20% down. Even if it was his subsequent use, the VA funding fee is 1.25% if you're putting over 10% down. So that's important for you guys to know. If you're putting 10% down, that funding fee is 1.25%. It's not when you do the math, because I'm like, it's 1.25%. He's like, well, I still think conventional is going to be better. I said, that's fine, but do you mind if I just show you the math? Because I wouldn't be doing my job as a lender, also as someone who's pretty darn pro VA, because of the math, if I don't show you the math, sir. Now look, most lenders would have backed off real quick when he said that he didn't want to, I just want to do conventional. They would have gone, yes, sir, we'll do a conventional loan. But I'm like, oh, I know you're going to save money. Please let me show you. So my team shows them the numbers, right? Conventional versus VA, also talking about the VA refi benefit because that's huge. Guess what? What do you pick? VA. Here's something else about that VA refi benefit. So let's say that you buy a house. Let's say you buy a $2 million house and you put down 20%, you go conventional, and you're like, oh gosh, I just got to raise, we'll turn this one into a second home, okay? If you had done VA and it becomes a second home or an investment property, I can still do a VA interest rate reduction loan, and the rates are the same as owner occupied. In this world, if I try to do a refi and you changed it into a second home or an investment property, watch that rate go up. Another benefit. So here's the thing. I think that what we see a lot in the luxury market is we have veterans who don't realize their VA benefit is huge in that market as well. I think we have, real estate agents who aren't super knowledgeable. Like, in fairness, there's parts of the country where they are. Like, if you're in DC or Virginia and you don't understand the VA benefit as a real estate agent, like, you are asleep at the wheel. But at the same point, you'll hear, oh, well, VA has so many more requirements. No? Like, in some states, you need a clear pest report, but I don't know about you guys. Do you want to buy a house riddled with dry rot? I mean, it can always be fixed prior to close if you really want that dry rot house. Do you want a house with wood-boring beetles that are going to eat the structure? I don't know about you, but I don't, and the agents are like, oh, well, the pest report. What are you trying to sell me, lady? like, just stop. And look, even if the worst were to happen and you're like, I'm going to use my VA, but the pest report came in with $4,000 in repairs, have the seller or you pay to fix it prior to close. It's going to save you so much over the long run that it's worth it. So look, VA loans are a tremendous benefit. Whether you're buying a $50,000 house or a $4 million house, it's a real benefit for you, for your service. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out, 786-933-2077. I wanted to do this video because, and look, I'm gonna get comments that are like, oh, Richie Rich, whatever. Here's the thing. There is this myth that veterans don't make money. I don't see that world. Like, look, no matter what you do for a living, there's people who make money and there's people who don't. We see veterans who are CEOs. If you look at some of the CEOs in the top 50 companies over the last 100 years, a lot of them are veterans. If you look at politicians, like our good ones, a lot of them are veterans. If you look at doctors, like, think about it. Think about the military and what they're training you for. So many in tech now. It's unbelievable. We're starting to see a lot more military in the private equity space. So this $2 million, $3 million, $4 million VA loan scenario is becoming more and more real every day because the military is where people are getting trained with skills that our country needs right now. So just a side note, but yes, feel free to reach out. We're always here to support you guys. Remember, if you're trying to do 0% up to, 2, 3, 4 million, you need your full entitlement. And we can always talk about, if you don't have your full entitlement, how the math works on that. Thanks for watching.